We're about to get and pick a band to open you up on your beautiful Monday. Don't go to bed, guys. It may be the start of the week, but this is the proper way to start it off as SK are on the blue side, Team Heretics on red.
We are gamers. We're waking up right now.
That's true. These are our starting hours.
Prime gaming hours. We get straight into the thick of things. Keduii not going to get that Kalista. I wonder whether there's going to be an early Ezreal ban towards him as well, because it's one of his best champions. There you go. Easy one over towards that. Whereas SK taking away, again, some of the more LEC priority bans on their own side too. The Varus kind of plug and play, easy takeaway.
Feels like a lot of these AD carries targeting towards Flakked and Keduii is where Keduii's been before anyway. Things like the Corki still available too. Note too, the Jhin has been something they've fallen back on. Excuse me, that's a target ban towards Kamiloo. That is definitely a Cho'Gath ban that he's pulled out a couple of times. It's along his most played champions with how much this guy's played.
He did say in one of our interviews very early on into the split, saying, I'll just slam that out into any matchup. But
true.
He kind of has. And, well, the Heretics have been doing fairly well with it. I feel like Heretics, one of the biggest things we talk about with this team is them coming into their own identity, and it has been through picks like that. Janax was just interviewed before this game. He played both of those picks last week in the Jax and the Urgot. Neither of them worked out well. Big thing which I'm asking for SK actually in this game is, one, if Janax is going to play the more kind of coin flippy champions, make sure he can get some support and not fall behind. Or if he does fall behind, make sure he's on a champion that can still have value.
Or maybe things like the Sign he's pulled out on top of that as well. The Jax was just hovered as a question mark with the Naafiri. First pick locked in. We walked away from this for a couple of weeks. Now feels like we're back, especially with Maokai banned away, Sejuani amidst the first blue side ban too. More confidence coming from junglers, you could argue, as Team Heretics look for the counter.
Took a little while for teams to adjust to having a 0cc, very little utility jungler. So the Naafiri took a little bit of rewiring things there, but it has come back into its own. Something that has stayed popular the entire time has been Taliyah. Taliyah's been incredibly good into a lot of meta matchups, just kind of good on its own into everything. Brings a global, which seems to be really impacting the meta right now too. Gives you a lot to work around.
And especially when we have double AD jungler at the moment, you're versatile. You don't care that you don't pick it here. Rumble gets locked in, Pantheon's available, Xin Zhao's still available, which Team Heretics can slap on 3. But SK, how much are they cooking here? Thinking about what can be taken into Carlsen's Rumble in top lane.
You can go towards the Gwen in a top lane matchup. We've seen that work out quite well. And then you have the Gwen Naafiri, while they don't bring any engage, both of them slap W, you can't hit them. And it's a big problem because they go untargetable and it's not particularly fair.
We like invulnerability in League of Legends. It's really the hit word at the moment.
Yeah.
In our game, isn't
Everyone's immune. Yay.
Yay. Corki, most played for Keduii as well. And if we're just talking about comfort, I see Keduii on a champion that can really carry.
Rika played this the last series they did too, so it does give them some flexibility.
Very flex.
And I seem to remember Jack Spectre going on a bit of a rant about he just didn't like Corki in general right now. For the LEC seems like it's lower win rate pick. I think it's fine given you have that magic damage top lane. It's okay in terms of blind pick kind of flexible stuff here too, especially with the AD carry bans. Gives you some options down there if the second bans don't go your way.
Well, Vi instead actually didn't see that one coming, so a bit of lockdown, good pairing for mid jungle and top 2. That's something we kind of skimmed over because I realized Vi normally actually gets banned in our first phase in LEC a lot.
Now, I think with that Cho'Gath ban coming through, it opened up some other stuff. Now, the reason I wasn't necessarily still expecting that to come through, I suppose it makes sense when you got the Rumble and the Taliyah. It's combo into both of them. Makes sense for that. It's just very bad against the W's of the top jungle on the other side. Now the problem is what happens if SK do pick in like an AD carry that can survive that engage a little bit too, or has a little bit of ability to play around something like a Kai'Sa ult, Xayah ult. Maybe a little bit difficult to play around that Xayah, low range into the Taliyah and the Rumble. But something like that could make Heretics kind of all in on that Vi ult. Very, very easy to answer.
Well, how do you simplify the composition further? Supports are getting taken away, and it feels like some of those lock-in engages could be a next question for Heretics if they want to get that on 4, or leave it as a counter pick support. But regardless, Rakan's already taken away. Alistar's gone as well. Things like the Rell still pop into mind. Nymaera, anywhere else you want to go with this? Is we're actually getting rid of mid laner options here to go into the Taliyah.
I think Nautilus is a big one that SK might want to remove here, because I think that Flakked and Stend might go towards a Kai'Sa lane. That's why the Kai'Sa end up banning away there. So you don't have the best diving AD carry to go with you now as Flakked, so Flakked might need to think about, okay, well, I've got 2 AP solo laners, which one could throw in a combo on top of that Vi. I need to be able to contribute in some way. Maybe you go towards something like the Jhin or an Misfortune last pick. I know that Misfortune's kind of like the boogeyman champion here in the LEC right now. Ooh, your AD carry just presses R and not much else in the game. Oh no. But the Rell would definitely set up for that now too.
The Flakked can be the boogeyman, you're right. A couple of games already played on that as well. Today really about reminding you all at home and where the comfort zone lies for these teams.
You just wake up at night, look under the bed. It's Misfortune, your AD carry doesn't have the right click.
Oh my god. Where did the guns come from? Oh, I have to ask. SK, how do they finish off this comp? Big question is the Ahri actually looked at here. AP solo lane always popular when you have such a strong AD, snowball-heavy jungle.
So it puts the Corki into bot lane, and now if the Vi ults the Ahri ults backwards, and it's hard to follow up on that. So SK, again, kind of committing to this. If you jump on us, we've got some ways out of that play. Gives them some disengage options, as well, of course, having their engage as well. They need a hard engage support to follow this up. They are lacking some CC. Makes that Leona an easy lock-in. It's a fair enough matchup versus that Rell too. Now we're just waiting for that last pick of Flakked. We did highlight something like that. Misfortune might be quite hard into the, again, the double W's of the Naafiri and the Gwen. So the Jhin maybe feels a little bit more consistent in terms of its CC output, is locked in. Flakked has played it for many years of his career. So we have two pretty obvious kind of identities from teams. I think Heretics, they want to be playing around that Vial, playing around the big engage from the Rell and the Jhin W2, and everyone else tags onto the play. Someone picks someone off, everyone piles on.
True.
SK on the other side, they do have some pick opportunities of their own, but what they actually want to do is throw a wrench into that follow-up by dashing backwards, pressing on target abilities, and hopefully staying out of range of the follow-up.
Everyone really has a way to get out, don't they? A lot of buttons that just to say no. I think for Team Heretics as well, while Flakked, as you said, a really good point. He's played this many years. But of course, his first Jhin game that's come through this split, when you consider that this man has played Seraphine AD carry, Swain AD carry before he's actually pulled up Jhin, you have to think how his performance is going to be affected here today. Game 1 is only the beginning. Between Heretics and SK, both vying for playoff spots, and no one's locked in yet. But we've kind of decided, and we've kind of been talking about it off broadcast, that 5 feels like a very safe number. Right now, Heretics, SK, Heretics at 3, SK at 2. It is the climb up to get that safety net that here in the LEC, as we quickly approach the end of weeks of regular season, it's fast becoming these teams. 2 and a bit weeks left. After today, it's only 2.
Which means that we need to put some things on the radar. Today is, I think it snuck up on me a little bit when I was prepping for this week and thinking, hey, actually, these games, looking back on it, if we look back on this in a couple of weeks, this could be the day where a couple of these teams' fate started to change around. This could be a pivot point, oh so important for a lot of these teams around that 2 and 3 series win mark.
As we get into game, you are hearing oh so much at the Madrid arena. But I can confirm, here in our audience in Berlin, we have no whistles. The whistle is gone. We are safe.
Anyone bring a Vuvuzela?
Yeah,
got one of them?
I think that's a volume increase for anyone at home. 25%, I reckon. Because I'll be honest, I looked on Amazon last night and thought, how hard is it to get a whistle? And there was one that said would arrive today before 1 o'clock.
Could have stopped in on a store on the way over.
I chose not to do that though.
Thank you.
Because I have morals.
Yep.
And that whistle, it was just the right ear. It was killing me. But of course, the energy was cool. You know, you take it with a grain of salt when you get a whole marching band in the audience.
It reminded me of my days going to rugby matches when people would, you'd have like the band would play the national anthems, and then they stick around in the crowd to play the trumpets and stuff. Good stuff. Nice to get some of that energy back in. As we now zoom into the early starts, as we have a great cinematic overview of the Rift. Really interested in what is going to happen between these early game junglers in terms of the first skirmishes they choose. We have seen a lot of Naafiris try and go towards an invade at some point. Naafiri has a good matchup into Vi, because if you end up Wing the Q, I just insta-loses the trade.
Yep. And
if Naafiri gets any kills, the matchup kind of falls out of control. So a lot of burden on the side of Heretics to not give easy openings towards Boukada.
It does feel, very snowball heavy as we're talking about what's on the line here, and before we get deeper into the early game, let's kind of just remind people of like where it goes from here, right? What it looks like. For Heretics starting off, they've only got a couple of best of 3s left. When we get to SK, you'll see that that is not true. But for Team Heretics, this impressive team that's come out of left field, they really only have to prove themselves in 2 out of these 3 next games, and they will reach that safety net that we're calling 5.
They've looked really good in a couple of their losses too. They probably should have won versus Karmine Corps, and we look at this team now and say, well, not a great first split of the year for them. A lot of people, well, okay, no, that's not true. A lot of people thought they'd be dead last. I still think they overperformed for that. But still, I think they've improved even then yet again. And now they're at a point where I assume they will be making playoffs based on strength of schedule. We'll see, right? But I think they're in with a good shot. If they don't,
then you're upset. Now, on the other side of the table, just a quick reminder, as I said, I had to throw in the thick of it. It just had to be there. But for SK, we're talking about Koi, G2 Vitality. What G2 didn't look good over the Madrid weekend as Loopy just gets a hard trade. Keduii looked great in their own arena. Vitality are ramping up as well. These are 3 very hard matches, not to mention the one they got in front of them in Team Heretics.
And I think they'll be kicking themselves that they lost to Rogue in the way that they did last week.
Oh, yeah.
Just talking about the interview beforehand.
It had to be a must-win.
It was a great series from Rogue to kind of give them a little bit of momentum as well. Of course, a lot harder for them with second best Stend like missing. But the SK at 2 and 3, they need a good performance today. If they lose this, the heat gets to turn up even more.
It really does. And again, SK, we're hyping them up because like Rika, Genax have both looked a lot better than they did in winter. You flash back to what that cold month was. And SK, their solo laners were underperforming out of their immigration from EMEA Masters. Boukada comes in now as well when you look at the change that came through with Isma being on the team in the previous split, now moving over. Boukada has been this breath of fresh air. Keduii has been this breath of fresh air. It's all coming together, and even in the 2v2, you could say the same, but Keduii now fighting with fire as Loopy gets a stun up. Good kite back, and Stend is dead. A first blood of legends. That's Loopy to set up the drill.
Sheo is coming down. I think Heretics thought that, oh, we've got the numbers advantage. Surely it'll work out. No, not quite as easy as that. Stend goes down very easily, and suddenly that 2v2, which you'd like to use as a platform, falls a little bit further behind than you'd like to. Early mistake there by Stend.
Good cutting back from Keduii, only burning his barrier as well. And Stend, summoner for him, didn't actually pop the ignite in the end, but Loopy getting early gold means it's just going to be that much tankier on the Leona. So lane swap already coming through, and the 2v2 just stops like that, at least for now. 4 minutes 30, and Genax has decided he's going bot.
We often do see this in our, as soon as the lane swap detection alarms kind of start getting diffused at that point. It's fine, you're allowed to move where you want to at this point, no longer shuffled into your own lanes. Allows you to kind of move around for stuff like the grubs, which are coming up in a minute, and allows you to potentially avoid or keep up in certain matchups, which you've kind of picked for on this side too. I think Genax pretty happy to be in that Rumble matchup, already get himself a wave up on that bat side in that individual matchup, called it out. Gwen just seems to be pretty happy into that Rumble.
I do feel like, Gwen is happy into a lot of matchups these days. It's like the Rumble of old, before Rumble's Q got nerfed.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd go into waves, you'd be like, I'm not going to win this lane or get close, but I am going to suffer. Stend just disengages. Team Heretics, they're 2v2. So far, I haven't really been liking this as new Corki, showing once again why he is a new lane bully at that.
It's really cool, by the way, just a bit of a history bump. I've always loved seeing Corki and Leona because one of the first seasons hang on, we might have to test over the dragon. I won't get to tell you about that, we do get a force off.
I think you will, because I'm mega curious. Sheo, though, he's going to be double queued, so the bleed is in effect. Boukada brings the dogs to the party, and Sheo is in so much trouble. A flash away as Boukada takes 2 shots in the end. Kamiloo's going to zone this off, so Boukada gets out, but Sheo is now a flash down. And
that's the kind of mistake we were talking about in the jungle matchup can really start to snowball. Important that Sheo doesn't die, but that's a real reality check there. As the Naafiri is going to get the dragon after this. Sheo, a person that we've really praised from Heretics, beating hard at the team, often called to lead them to success, leaves an opening there for Boukada.
I'm so curious as to what you were going to tell me about Corki and Leona. Like, are they brother and sister? Are they lovers?
No, it's not even like that. No, it's just one of the first seasons I started watching Pro League was Season 3. And back then, it was when Corki was buffed every Worlds patch to get back into the World Championship.
Right.
But the reason why Corki and Leona was so good back then, and it is still now, is that the Gatling gun from Corki procs every bit of Leona passive when she goes in. It means it's so unexpected burst when normally you have to stop for an auto attack to weave between abilities. Corki Leona, it's kind of nice to see that the old tech of League still kind of works out in a tangled era.
I was going to say, because otherwise, I mean, the dog sees everything in that relationship, so I'd be a little bit worried, you know? Like, but it's good to know. Good to know. Hey, just important information. My brain's going to go where my brain's going to go.
Yeah, it is.
At least we sorted that out.
Jake,
that's why we came back to it, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we came back. And now we've established what the ground rules are.
Now we'll have a Nymaera solo caster, Jake's put it in the kennel.
It's okay. How quickly does it take to get me pulled off? Look, that same bottom lane, 600 gold up. I've got to establish that Keduii, again, looks pretty solid, pretty all-round. There's a reason that he has now played this 5 times in the regular season. It's obviously a big comfort for him. Sheen already picked up as well. Good burst, and I mean, 600 gold up is the actual lead between SK and Team Heretics in this early game for now.
Of course, he's going to have a huge target on his back as we get through to actually any fight in the game now. I was about to say, into the one-item spike. Corki's strong enough now to focus at any point in this game. Because I think I look at almost everyone else on the map from SK. It's hard to pin down an Ahri with ult and flash. It's hard to pin down the double W in target abilities at top side. Corki's still the easier target to hit. Boukada is going to see an invade into his jungle if he goes into this brush.
Well, he sees them a little bit too late, doesn't he? The crash down with the flash as well. You said that invulnerability, it's a pain for the Vi. It crafts itself, Nymaera.
How is that fair? Loopy's now on an angle. Rika has ult. There's a chance of a counterplay here.
He's just going to get in the way, though. The charm, though, used a little bit too early. A solar flare, or rather, Stend played to follow up as the dogs are back on in. Boukada re-engages to make Team Heretics' life a living nightmare. 2 kills quick, and SK's early game is off to the races.
This would have gone so well if this dog did not have a Fizz W on. Someone bring me the hot dog. Boukada gets 2 assists out of that, of course gets the reset on the ultimate, and gets to go back to the red buff they were there in the first place. And that's the mistake again, we highlighted earlier, you can't afford to give that kind of early opening to a team like this from SK. Needlework on top side, Rika looking for a play.
It might not be it, right? The exhaust comes down, and with all needles connecting, Carlsen flashes away, but Rika has his own flash with a charm available and electrocute to proc. Right up against the wall, Carlsen being patient, but he gets hit anyway. Inaction does not equal the action in the end, and Carlsen equalizes down, but has to back off.
It doesn't lead to a kill, but it's still a major tool that's been bled. You're going to have to recall at this point too, potentially use your teleport to get back out onto the map too. How many times we're going to have to see the Vi play like this into the Naafiri? He hops over the wall too, like, it's just Naafiri things. I know you've used your Vial, you've used your Taliyah ult, you're in enemy terrain, you're behind enemy lines, and you don't really have a panel to steer yourself out of this creek. Counterplay comes through, Naafiri still has ult, you haven't taken enough HP to lock them out of the play, and it's a very easy collapse from SK. They have so much mobility to pull into this.
You can leave me.
Agreed. Early game for SK going well. This is, this is new for me, because honestly, coming into today, I was ready to tell you all about how Team Heretics, their first 14 minutes look a lot better. And this is something you'll hear a lot over this series, where Team Heretics are the team that have improved, have developed their solo lanes, have actually looked so good in the early game. I think 14 games for 14 games is actually the data for Team Heretics.
It is, yes. We actually have
told us that.
Exactly the same sample size between Winter and Spring at this point in this split. And we normally bring up this graphic after they made a good play.
Yeah.
SK would do that to them instead. And while Heretics, we have a lot of respect for them on their early game, he's going to get out safely here, that might not exactly come to fruition in this one, as SK, now with a lot of early spikes about to come online, with that 1 to 2 item spike being a real pressure point for both teams here, actually. Heretics are going to be fighting from behind in a very important part of the game.
Don't worry, game 2 or game 3, if they have a good early game, then I can bring it up again.
So like, you have to pretend you didn't see that one the first time.
You just look at it and absorb the fact that SK are doing well. Have one-sided sample here, because 1,000 gold lead in the early game that's come off the bottom lane, that's come off a 2-kill Corki now. Keduii's in charge, and not only that, it's only Carlsen with the lead individually for Team Heretics. This is a really rough early game for the Sheo squad that we highlighted before.
So, Dragon's coming up now. Heretics don't want to give that over, but they might give up a pick with Fresh down out of the way. Stend will spot them out on that brush. Heretics do have a powerful equalizer to bring towards the play at some points. Do need to be really careful about that disengage potential from SK, though. You can't let all of your big engage tools go to waste. You need to use them efficiently, buy some of that disengage early.
Flush from Stend, though. The engage onto Loopy. He's going to be crashed down. Soulflare's buying him time, but the seismic shot brings him back, and Sheo's there to dunk down. The support of SK sent to the ground. 1 kill for Team Heretics to open up the ample opportunity of moving towards this dragon.
Rika uses his ult. Keduii wasn't there at the play, and Genix wasn't in a position to teleport, so just an overstep there from Loopy. Just thinking, okay, SK, probably okay to disengage from the play. Of course, Leona's the one person who doesn't really have that. Yeah. They have an Eclipse, they're a little bit tanky, but they don't get out of the play that easily, so Heretics fire back.
Stend could be in the same trouble. Aftershock gives him some breathing room, as Sheo does eventually get the dragon equalizing, and in the interview we saw just before with Jhin, oh no, I think it was actually on desk with Odo, excuse me, was that dragons are so important. Sheo said it himself.
Yeah.
He thinks they're just so good right now, and Team Heretics now showing that proof in the pudding here as they equalize a little bit on the objectives. Remember, grubs are still up as well, so that could be the next question mark, as junglers are moving towards topside, at least Boukada.
Genix ended up just using the needlework there, because Carlsen got a really good trade onto them. Level up there briefly before Genix could hit that level 10, so a good tool used. Rika now on bot side does have Rod of Ages some extra HP, might need to get out with a flash.
Yeah, for the wave it's going to be called greed, but I think it's called a great play from Team Heretics in hindsight. Set up there, Stend unfortunately gets a kill, but it's an open wave, open market. Team Heretics have brought cash.
Good couple of minutes now from Heretics. Did give that early opening over towards SK, but that's a kill on a side lane. Gives Flakked some chance to hit that turret. And of course now Rika's gone down just as he would have liked to be looking for his next kind of play as his ultimate came back up. Didn't have that for the disengage there. Good play from Heretics to use that time window. Loopy, what's he found here?
He has taken a portal because he's also flashed into the melee arms of Kamiloo. It looks like a good play, and it's going to smell like one too. Keduii, 3 kills because of it. Ambitious, but very innovative from the support of SK.
Both teams really committing to just finding people picked off on these side parts of the map versus Rika. Then it's Kamiloo, so both mid laners kind of return the favor from the rest of their team. You can see that both these teams have a really good ability to tag on to plays like that. The Corki jumping forwards, the Vi starting things off on the other side. That's a bit of a reality check there, I think, for both teams. You can't really leave yourselves too overextended.
You can't. I mean, Kamiloo dropping down there is also great because it opens up that bot side, maybe to equalize a little bit. As I say that, though, teleport going to be used mid. Conversation about waves, absolutely useless for the time being because we approach 14 minutes. It's kind of just ping-ponging waves for the time being as Keduii spots out of back, can't enforce it, can't stop it.
Keduii has himself that triple spike, of course, and he has steel caps too, which is very nice versus the Vi and the Jhin. Of course, won't help against those solo lanes flying at his face as well. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what Keduii can do. Play which I've spent a lot of time watching over in the ERLs. He is a triple ERL champion, won Prime League, won LVP, won LFL, won EMEMS as well. He was known as the Prince of Prime League for a while. Stend in a bit of trouble here. I think he can crash down out though.
Let's see if Prince can look towards that crown. Team Heretics back off though. SK holding full control of this top side, but it's a minute 35. Do you see any further action coming through from the neutrals? SK, their business being here ends now.
Just looking at the wider map again, you can see that SK trying to get some control of these side lanes. They do typically have 2 solo laners that would like to be pushing in like that, but I think Carlsen doing well in this early game has gotten more wave control than I expected Heretics to have. Yeah. Normally I'd say, well, Ahri will insta-clear waves, needs to be respectful of Gwen. Hasn't necessarily worked out like that, so Carlsen doing well to buy his team a little bit more pressure, which is very important. Again, we said, oh, early mistakes, a little bit of gold over towards people like that. Naafiri becomes a bit of a problem, especially when you're fighting around now the one-item spike, where it feels like everyone on both teams starts to pop off.
Yeah, I mean, sitting on it now, Rika, especially at level 11 as well. I know it's not your favorite build, but the Rod of Ages is slowly stacking up, and at least he has a Dark Seal, best of both worlds.
Yes, oh, thank God. Look, I have a lot of issues with Ahri builds, but if you have a Dark Seal, you can be saved of a lot of different blushes.
Definitely can.
You can save Loopy.
I don't think you can, because even if the curtain call doesn't connect, which in the end, Flakked makes it so, and Loopy will drop to the ground. Now, Genax has actually just jumped in, and Boukada zone control. His duty not done yet as Keduii helps out his jungler, but SK, it's all about this dragon control that spawns in a minute. However, it's a little bit too early. The charm after the second engage as Stend has to flash away. The Gwen W helps out a little bit as the needles will fly as well. Boukada ultied in, but he has no reset, and this time he has no invulnerability. Best served cold. His Sheo's revenge is over the wall. Flakked gets some space, and Rika, now with one ult charm left available, he has to use it well. His mana bar low, and Kamiloo in no man's land flashes away to Solar Flare again. He's getting deja vu. Messy fights beget nonsense. And with 35 seconds left to go, we're going to do that again over Dragon.
Yeah, because there's not a big enough win to see an objective taken just after it. Yes, the Herald is up on that top side. Yes, the Dragon's coming up in 30 seconds, but everyone will be back towards. We've already seen Loopy have a second swing at the fight there as he came back after dying the first time. Getting a little bit worried for SK here, though. This is the second time where Loopy has been caught out a little far from his team. Go back into this. This is after Loopy's already died. They don't have their CC support with the Solar Flare available. That would have been really nice, actually, to pin down someone called the Naafiri, the Ahri, and the Gwen. And you can see how difficult the competition is to play when you don't have that hard CC. Loopy dying at the start of the fight really makes it hard for SK to really get that damage down, whereas Heretics, they can just space a little bit more at that point. Yes, Kamiloo has to blow the flash, but he doesn't die, and he's completely fine with that.
One in the end is Boukada dropping down. We reset, and SK are on the Dragon first. You can see that Sheo just wants the Herald, so it's going to be 2 Dragons down. Remembering, by the way, that SK actually got 5 grubs early on, so it's not the end of the world. It's not like Mites are going to spawn off the wazoo. Where is that? What is the wazoo?
You see, the thing is, my mind jumps to Kazoo, and that's not it.
That's like Banjo-Kazooie.
This is
Right.
See, this is the kind of thing which Medic would know, and it really annoys me that I don't know this.
See, again, I could Google this, but that's just not that's not real, is it?
Yeah, I know what one of Medic's fun facts is that sharks are older than trees. Did you also know that sharks are older than the rings of Saturn and also the North Star? They're 400 million years old.
Wow. Every shark on Earth.
Well, okay, not all.
Yeah.
There is a Greenland shark which is several hundred years old.
Right.
That's just around somewhere. That's
Greenland shark?
Yeah, Greenland shark.
It's in Greenland, obviously.
No, it's actually in the water somewhere in the Atlantic.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my fun fact segment over. You can now propose another segment if you would like to.
Yeah.
That might be dangerous.
I wish I knew something about squirrels, but I'm not really there, am I?
There's a Marvel character called Squirrel Girl who beat Thanos one time.
Really?
I think.
Where was she in Infinity War?
That's a great question. These are the questions.
That's like the Eternals. The Eternals are around. Garbage movie, by the way. Save yourself 2 hours. As a... You know what, Marvel? Don't worry. I won't be listening to this. Team Heretics going to get bot turret. This is some gold back into their pocket. And after a rocky early game, they are starting to claw their way back. As onto Carlsen, I could say that if he doesn't get caught out, he gets charmed and solar flared, so he stays in place. CC layering there wasn't good from SK, but Carlsen is paying the price.
Also, just don't think they have the damage between these two members against Carlsen, who has Merc Treads, got the HP component from that Leandries as well. Carlsen doing well in the early game allows him to wave clear a little more effectively like this and keep the side lane afloat a little longer. And it means that on the other side, Heretics get the turret. They get themselves more than what SK do on the top side.
Really need to build up this lead because now it's only Keduii. We came from lanes where, you know, Boukada and Rico, as we saw, forced out Sheo a little bit. I think Boukada individually was having a pretty good time in this early game, but yeah, it's gone awry just a little bit. 1,500 gold lead for Team Heretics, and 40 seconds till Atakan spawns, but what I'm more concerned about is this game. Jenax might be in trouble. He's knocked around a little bit. He won't go immune. Instead, he brings out the needles, and one more to hit, but holds off for now as SK group up as 4. I was going to say, where is Flakked going? But he's just getting past Loopy, who are ships in the night.
Goes where he pleases. Jump, flick that. Are we going to see an ult clone from Rika? No, probably. Well, I would stand here, yes.
I think so. Well, okay. Doesn't have to flash in the end, which is good. It's just the ult usage.
However, one thing about this build, it's one of the reasons why I do take a lot of issue with the Rod of Ages build on the Ahri. Losing your ultimate is a genuine loss condition. Now, you are not going to have your ult for a couple of minutes now. I believe, well, it's second rank now, but at first rank, it's about a 30-second cooldown difference between having the Malignants and having the Rod of Ages. Of course, gives you no ability haste or the ult haste that the Malignance does on that side. What it does allow you to do later into the game is, it's kind of a bit of a catch-all phrase, use your HP as a resource. You dive in, you take more damage than you're normally able to, and you kind of can initially go for like a 1v2 or something. You get some value, and you get to survive that play. You don't get to make those plays nearly as often, though, when you don't get that ultimate up on the same kind of cooldown. You don't get to accelerate the game in the way that I typically like to see from an Ahri.
I think as well, like, for SK in this game, it feels like they're really going to be lynching onto the fact that they have, you know, kind of one streamline engage in Leona, right? A lot of these single engage comps, they struggle a lot, and especially in the LEC, it becomes very difficult to operate when Loopy's dead. How do we pull onto them? And as you said, they have disengage tools. You talked about it in draft a little bit here, where we're lulling about the spawn of the next dragon. Our Team Heretics have got a bit of range. They can latch on. It's about the disengage from SK, how they can pull back. And how a lot of these range targets with their own disengage, like Corki W, like Rika having his ulti, Boukada's invulnerability, which is stupidly broken, and it's things like that that give them life in this game. But for Team Heretics, I think the go buttons are obviously a lot simpler, as they're trying to use one now with the Herald getting spawn mid a minute before Dragon and opening up the map a little bit.
Yeah, this is the counterweight Herald. You throw it down on the map to balance out a play which is being used elsewhere. Ahri's pushing down bot side, can't match the pushing power of the Herald in the mid. Easy mid tower taken. Loopy caught out again.
It's an ult from Kamiloo to stop any reinforcements. A seismic shove to keep Loopy in place, and the third time is not lucky for this solo support.
This has become a bit of a habit of Loopy's. Yes, you're winning on the side lanes here. If you're not looking for an actual fight in the mid lane, you can't be positioning like that. The only way I think you can position like that is if you've got immediate double teleports coming in from the other side laners. You shouldn't be doing that anyway because you're getting towers. Now, actually, Jenax might have overstated the top side because we do have a couple of people.
It's a pinch. Everyone's coming in. 3 versus 1. How do you play it for Jenax? He has to get innovative. He brings the scissors out, and it's time to do the duty. Cutting down. Jenax going to get flashed on. Exhaust is up, but Stend, he's going to come in and make this play a little bit harder to run by Carlsen as well to finish off the damage and a shutdown for the final touch. It's easily done for Team Heretics. Seismic shove in the side lane. It's all going well for Team Heretics now, and SK getting caught out not once, not twice, not 3 times. It feels like 4.
Dragon is going to go to the side of SK, but it's fairly slow at that. And yes, SK had the 5 groves. They do end up taking themselves a couple of towers and some presence across the map. But Heretics are playing these picks really well. They are picking off people like Rika, or at least his ultimate. They picked off Loopy multiple times. Janex goes down. And I think that Sheo and Stend have been moving well as a unit to achieve that. Yeah. Heretics, it was like, oh, a bit of a fumble earlier. Are they going to be able to play towards their more proactive style that they've started to solidify in this split? And yes, they have been able to.
I mean, yeah, you raised a valid point. A lot of people will be thinking about Soul Point and those grubs, but I'm thinking about the inherent gold that Team Heretics keep pulling up. 2-item Rumble just about to pop onto your screen. His back is known in top, and Team Heretics have 2 through mid, 2 in bot, make it almost 3 for Flakked. His range is going to be unbearable. Newer Jhin build, he's not going for the Yomus first, it's Collector first, but he will one-shot any squishy target.
And he's going towards the rapid fire cannon because, look, in this kind of game, you have to walk forwards for that 1 extra auto to kill off the target that the Vi's doing. I don't necessarily think you're going to be able to kind of outspace someone like a Gwen with a W running. You need to use that fire cannon well. So it's on Flakked to prove that he can use this build effectively. And you're absolutely right, highlighting that Soul Point from SK is now a win condition for them. Absolutely worth putting something to that too. It wasn't just those towers, the Dragon, very important. Heretics will need to make sure that the gold that they've gotten from the picks and from a couple of these roaming plays they've made can make the difference before the next Dragon comes through.
A Vault Breaker is only the start of the threat, and a Magnet Storm is the final trend. Stend does it and makes himself known as Sheo jumps in a little bit too deep, a little bit too early. The linchpin of Team Heretics is down, and now all hell breaks loose with SK bringing in the big guns. Chenax TP's in, and it's a mistake from Sheo that you don't often see.
It's the disengage from SK. Keduii uses all of his summoners and his W, but that could be a huge mistake. Just talks about how Heretics needed to make sure that they were getting this gold used well before the next Dragon can come through. SK immediately take a fight, they can take the Atakan, and that's going to cause some problems for Heretics later. There's
going to be a Weaver's Wall through top, and Kamiloo is at least trying to buy some time to get some alone time with this set turret, but not enough damage there. Atakan going down, SK re-grasping some of this game, and remember, Baron's up in 15. Off the reset here, they have GA to play it.
So this is what happened in the mid lane. They go for a snap engage onto Keduii. Sheo doesn't get the clean Q onto the Corki. That might have ended up being a difference maker, but I guess with the Rumble not there, it wouldn't have at all. I mean, you don't even pull the teleport out, and that's quicker from SK. Wonder whether that was a miscommunication from Heretics. Surprised that Carlsen didn't join for such an important play.
Well, we're hyping up the brilliance and the development of these teams. This game 1 has got to slow off the ramps, I feel. Just kind of been testing the waters here. 6-6, Stend again. Tries to find Keduii, but remember, they have those rebirths, so even if Loopy once again gets caught out here, it's high ground, low ground for Flakked. Definitely is the comment there.
Feels topical that we had the re-release of Revenge of the Sith this weekend. They have the high ground. You know?
I did not hear about that.
Didn't? I did.
Is it like a Ultra HD version or something?
No, it's just the same thing again, but I'm into that, so...
fair. Do they put it in the movies? Is that what they do?
Yes, they put it into the cinema.
As they should. Okay, yeah, I'm all about that as well.
Lightsabers.
It's big. Carlsen, the same be said. He's just going to take Blast Cone away. There's good damage coming out of Boukada, and he's sinking his fangs in a little bit deeper now that he's got Black Cleaver Shojin.
This is definitely the build that we've seen a lot more this week in LEC. No Eclipse anymore, going towards this double build. Very, very strong 2-item mark. Stend, ooh, is he there to save Flakked?
Flakked only gets slowed. Another good Magnet Storm. Stend is at the front line, at the heart of it again. Keduii repositions over the turret down. There's nothing in SK's way. They'll push past it. Rika in the way again with a Spirit Rush out and available. And once again, Chenax is always there first.
Now, there is a death on the side of Heretics. The Atakan is, still here for the side of SK. Do they feel bold enough to go towards the Baron? No. If they killed Flakked or if they killed Sheo, I think they would have gone for it. So they get one of the low roll targets. Sorry, support plays. They get one of the low roll targets, all things said.
You guys suck.
They give their lives willingly, so the rest of the team is alive to fight around.
As we've said many broadcasts, support mains have so much these days. You guys don't know how bad you had it back in Season 1, Season 2.
Take you a heart of gold and you'll like it.
You'll literally buy wards only and have no items. That's your job. You know in Rick and Morty, like,
You passed the butter?
Yeah, you passed the butter. Oh my god.
That's great stuff.
It's literally
there's a bit of a secret agent thing going on here from Sheo.
Yeah.
You will spot Rika here.
He will
Stend's going
indeed.
down. There is an equalizer. Rika might be in a spot of trouble. Does have flash and all. I think they might have missed their opportunity.
They saw him definitely, right? I mean, again, Rika just didn't care. He walked forward. Stend's going to be the first target. Sheo gets a good ult up, and in goes Kamiloo. Wait, Team Heretics, it's working. Now for the turnabout play. SK have nowhere to stay. Loopy so low as the dragon just spawns, and this was their soul, but Team Heretics made the long con into a slow push.
Huge play from Sheo. The secret agent maneuvers do work out, and I wonder whether Rika should have just panic flashed instead. The ult not quick enough. Dragon to get it started. I think SK just have to give up the ghosts here. Boukada, no flash, will have to stick around for a smite steal, but I think even that's too risky at half HP.
He has no flash. That would be it would be suicidal. Team Heretics. They get 2 dragons. SK at the inside track to mid, so at least this keeps the game flowing for them. Gold still back in their pocket, and gold, by the way, is even, so this game's not over yet, but Baron has to be the next thought as Dragon's out of contention.
Definitely up for vision control. Of course, one of the things about playing around the bot side of the map for a while is that your vision is around bot side. That's not very helpful when everything's around here. You need it to be there. That's
Moving
a problem.
Circle to UFO. It is scary. You're right. SK have used that to their advantage. Solar Flare. Kamiloo now caught out. Remember, he burnt his flash in the previous play. He's stuck against the wall. The curtain call into Loopy, trying to get Keduii, who's got so many bodies ahead of him. Stend is now left alone. Carlsen just watching, and Team Heretics are pounced on once again by this all-in dive from SK.
The melee range Corki is the deadliest. The Prince of Prime League goes melee range on the Corki and gets some good work done. Now this will be a good Baron. Great use of a quick switch from bot side to top side to deny vision and get towards the Baron.
SK is still taking it down in awe of Team Heretics who are watching, but Flakked is so far away there's not going to be a range to add in. And SK pick up the Baron, and with it, this early game again rotates back around.
So the Dragon play didn't go out well, but this is the big thing we were just talking in the lead up to this. The plays that happened around the bot side of the map wasn't available on the top side when Heretics kind of panicked and had to rush towards it. They leave themselves a little bit skew in terms of protecting some of their carries. Jungle mid lane to go down, and as we were talking about earlier, jungle goes down, free objective.
Oh yeah. Nothing's up on the map. What's the next play for SK? They're thinking about how they can position down bot, how they can get this bot lane pushing up, because it is one of the 2 inner turrets left remaining. SK spotted on that wards you talked about before, the leftovers from Team Heretics setting up on that dragon push. But for now, waiting for the minion wave with Genax not too far behind.
Heretics now feel a little bit bereft of options. The way that they typically want to play this game is make sure that Gwen W gets blown early into a fight, then you can throw the ults in, same kind of thing with the Naafiri W. I don't think they have easy enough map access to them, like getting flanks and whatever, or damage right now compared to the items which SK have, to force things out for free. That means that their engage becomes very, very hard to deal with, and SK can just keep disengaging, keep throwing out Ws, Turret goes down, Heretics feel a little bit toothless.
All that zone control, Genax just takes it like it's nothing. Top wave not in a position to get something else, but SK 2,500 gold with the Baron power play. And remember again, 2 minutes 30 till this soul for them is up and available. Team Heretics have been able to keep them at arm's length in this game for a little while, but it truly does feel like we're going to start talking up Keduii once again. We're going to start talking about this Corki, how much free time he's getting.
Oh, here comes Boukada.
While we speak of free time, we're going to remember that no one from SK are nearby until it's Genax. Boukada might have a bit of opening support. Sheo is now getting bodied, and now that the scissors are flying out, Genax just doesn't care. He'll run into anyone. Carlsen's not a threat anymore with the exhaust down. Stend has to disengage, and Team Heretics, again, it's not coming together for them today.
That is the kind of play which they actually should be looking for. Those kind of scrappy, no one's quite prepared. You can pick off the Naafiri with the Vi into the Taliyah, but it doesn't quite work out. They can't quite knit those skills together quickly enough, and suddenly SK actually get the better end of that play, because Naafiri just gets to do Naafiri things, hit double Q, heal up, and that's kind of the end of it.
And we get to see the power of Gwen, because Gwen at 2 items just walks in.
Yeah.
Look at the health. Walks in and no one's really able to contest. Genax is just such a one-man army, and now again, this inner turret that I thought with Baron wouldn't really reach. In the last 25 seconds, SK have opened up the top lane as well. Baron moves to 3,500 as a power play. And now it's just simply base that SK have to breeze through.
Heretics Heretics throughout their ults there. I don't exactly have the easiest time of things when they don't have that Vi ultimate. Is one of the problems of picking something like that Vi. Midway through draft, it's like, oh yeah, isn't Vi normally banned? Isn't it normally early pick? This is one of the issues with the Vi when you are into a comp like this where everyone is kind of like a B tier option for you to ult.
Sure.
You have to kind of have some prerequisite. They have to have blown this skill. They have to be out of position by X amount. This is why it sucks when it falls behind like this. And Heretics, yeah, maybe you can get a huge Rell ultimate into an equalizer. It's just feeling like it's much harder to get that because, you know, whereas before they had a bit more presence from Carlsen pushing up lanes, that's not the case now. If you look at everything as we come towards this dragon, they don't have the best top lane push. They're being pushed up in mid lane. There's a chance that Ahri goes down here as well. They have a couple of inroads in through here, but it feels hard for Heretics to find an ideal opening, and that's going to really make them struggle to take down this very disengaged heavy team.
4.5k gold lead. Put your eyes towards mid. We're going to A-ram for just a little bit here as waves meet up and go head-to-head. It's good wave clear from both. Flakked tries to use range, and Stend is now thinking about his predetermined angle.
This is why pushing mid is so important. It opens up those extra angles. Already highlighted how difficult it was before close on the Zenith Blade as we push into River.
Double control ward clears the whole brush as Charm connects. Flakked loses Cleanse. His range not an advantage anymore. Rika is a threat from the right. It's all about the soul here as SK start up the dragon. 7k. It's going down.
Stend looking for the miracle flank. Hexgate over. It will be on a ward, and that's Keduii's W down. Could be important.
And Stend is so far away. Sheo goes to no man's lane. You talked about it in draft and now see it in reality. Out goes Sheo. The curtain call will fly. 4,500. It's going down quick. It's the dragon. It's Hell's Bar. The fourth shot for the steal. Team Heretics still in the game, but Sheo no longer. The charm out of miss. He's somehow alive, but the dive in from Boukada ends in a flash. He avoids the deadly flourish, but Flakked is on the chase. The Weaver's wall out. It continues round 2 as SK are kiting back still. It's Keduii versus the world, and I think he can hold the world up. All it takes is a deadly flourish, which he kites away, but his poke really hurts. In the side, in the rim, anywhere he hits you, it is grim. Team Heretics, the 4-man unit, can't step up to him. Sheo knows, or Stend rather, the flux forward. Keduii gets a rocket, but a 4th shot and a reload. Team Heretics, another kill. Boukada thinks about it as Genex now rolls in this game. He's going from better to best as Carlsen from behind. It's a dog shot, but that dog wants to go in again. Flakked for another exhaust down. Dead meat as Kamiloo survives, and we're just warming up.
That is so much better for Heretics than they had any right of happening from that dragon. The setup looked a little bit dicey for them, but they ended up finding a steal and a great fight afterwards. SK, they still have a gold lead, but now they are equal in dragons 3-3, and SK will be wondering exactly how they got that. Heretics fought their way into that river magnificently to get some extra angles into that, even though it looked like the Vi ultimate didn't really get the value it needed to. SK couldn't hold their battle lines. With Rika going down so early, it made it very difficult. Of course, we'll see that in the replay again here. This was the bit where I thought, okay, this is looking really awkward. It's not a great vial. Rika kind of pulls them out of position. The equalizer doesn't get huge amounts of value. Surely with all the big ultimates down, SK should win this, right? But that's just not the case. The dragon still comes through, and Taliyah gets a lot of value from just the basic abilities after this point, as it feels like a lot of people just dash through the minefield and they can't quite engage in the way that they wanted to.
All big range ults used. And we're just going to watch the chase down here while Keduii is a big enough threat that Team Heretics can't run him willy-nilly.
I feel like maybe Keduii was sold out a little bit by his team here. Like, okay, maybe you could have hit him a little bit closer around the corner. Keduii obviously has a ton of damage. You see how much that random crit does. Flashes forwards here and very nearly takes 2 for himself in this. The teleport, it's a good angle. It's a little bit too late at this point. I understand you can't recall and teleport any quicker. They're going on to him
Sheo again, but it's mega deep. As you said, disengage with the max stop from Stend. Layers onto everyone. Opposite the track, but for SK, how true is that as a frontline? Ahri is the worst one. Flakked gets the kill. Team Heretics again. Moments in the sun. The turret goes with it.
Heretics are managing to thread the needle so well. Keduii, so much damage, but not the easiest way for him to get out of the combo. This is going to buy them a Baron, and as we were saying before, you know, it is equal in Dragons now. The Baron buff will now last over till the next Dragon spawn. Heretics are bringing us to late game. They've talked about their tenacity. They've talked about the 3-word plan for themselves, and they're in a great position yet again.
Watch once more. Sheo just goes to hell and back with these ultis.
It's a great angle on Keduii. I just don't think he expected enemy team to be in his red side jungle at that point. It's the only reason you'd be in that too. Great Weaver's Wall to seal him off there too. Just didn't expect the Corki to get junked on like that.
And again, more and more items. You got to remember, Caning Rookrun now for Sheo. He's getting tankier so that when he does go on this grand journey, you know, the dude is not losing his suitcase along the way.
Yeah, that happened to you before?
No, I have had, you know, actually I've had a suitcase left in another country, and I've had the handle absolutely kaput.
You can have your suitcase back, but not the handle.
No, the handle was broken, and still is. Not going to name any brands, but I'm very upset with them. Now, for Team Heretics, do they know? That's the biggest question for SK. They hold.
Both teams vaguely know that they're on this side of the map. Before, we were talking about the vision control. We talked about how Heretics lost a lot of it. Now look how different things look in such a short amount of time. Wards on both sides. Process elimination, they make it very clear that they know that there's only a couple of pockets SK can be playing from. They make sure that they're safe too. Flakked W's out of that fog of war. If he hits a root on someone, that could genuinely be game-changing at this point. I think at this point in the game, a good root enough route from Jhin onto the Corki, that could actually be the game.
Okay. Keduii. He's not going for the GA last. He's got a Vampiric Scepter, so I was going to say just wait for the GA, but he's going to be waiting a hell of a long time. I'm surprised to see Keduii probably going for the Bloodthirster. And I mean, it's a game of boots where he's probably just going to upgrade those Tabis anyway. So, Loopy, that is an int. Solarflare's going to come out. Can they do anything with it is the question, but SK support giving freebies. Not being the best game from him, and Team Heretics will smile at the deal.
Yeah, it's suddenly got a little bit overcast outside. The sun goes out, and SK wondering exactly what Loopy was doing with that Hex Gate. You should know that's not your area of the map anymore. You've just seen Jhin skill shots flying out of that for the last minute or so. Dragon's now up. I get that you have to be around there for it. This is going to be a free Hex Salt, unable to be contested.
Got to say, for Team Heretics, Resilience is really the name of the game, as you said. With that soul down as well, the chase becomes unbelievable. But SK will just have to stand there and accept no smiling anymore in the corners of these SK members that were so far ahead. I'm talking about Rika and Keduii, who in this game had monumental displays. Keduii no longer. It's Sheo's chase, the seismic shove, a combination that is unbreakable. Team Heretics now with an open mid.
Fantastic follow-up with the Weaver's Wall. Makes it so easy to pick off this Corki, who had so much of the gold for SK. Heretics with the Baron buff and the Hex Soul can absolutely crush the base now.
Flakked, you might think 4 shots, but it's enough. Again, Team Heretics blast open 2 lanes. A good charm, but it's all in defense here. How long can SK hold on? Stend thinking about an engage, a deadly flourish. Yet again, Loopy shoved back. He just respawned to die on his back. Team Heretics with 5 still, the needlework has scaled, and Jenax is the last line of defense, and as he holds on, trying to clear the wave, the curtain call brings out. Brilliance is shown with 4 shots, only 2 connecting, an ulti used, but a Magnet Storm keeping Boukada in place. Team Heretics, again, look for a regain, but they're just going to pull on back. SK managed to defend for now. They can't find anything off the back of it.
Really good engages and really good follow-up on the back of these Vi ultimates. Sheo, we've called him the leader of this team, the beating heart, and this is the kind of gameplay which has solidified his importance within Team Heretics. Like, this is a great pick again after they've, you know, just caught him out 2nd time in that mid lane. They don't end up finishing the game here. Of course, there is good wave play coming through, but look at the amount of random CC that comes through from Jhin W into the Taliyah flick back. It's, even though they defend the base, they're still bleeding out, they're still losing inhibitors. This is a survival, but at what cost?
That's right. Only good things for Team Heretics. I mean, SK. It did feel like there were many moments in this game, not even just early game, it was a lot of the mid-game moments as well, as we transitioned to where we are now, where SK did have control. They had a Gwen that was scaling, and they've just come narrowly close so many times in one game. Like, it's been disappointing, but for Team Heretics, they obviously know how to play around the strength of their soul laners. And again, we talked about their composition. You talk about easy execution. I see Vi, I see Taliyah, I see a Rell, I see everything that LEC players love.
You press the go button and something disappears on the other side of the map. Heretics doing a good job to play around that. And a couple of wobbles in the mid game. SK will be wondering where it went wrong. As he goes forwards again.
He the charm. Golden no. Sheo might have run out of time. Magnet Storm saved again. Stend's resurgence coming into the LEC, or at least his debut in this split, has looked so much better than the last. Stend going to look for the flip, and Jenax gets no chance to bring the game back to even. SK running out of odds. 3 left in the base. and Team Heretics with one lane to go through.
Jhin showing why you shouldn't run with scissors and do ill-informed teleports. It's not been his best use of globals. This game goes down very easily in Heretics. I think they'll just march in with 3 inhibitors. Can they finish at this point? Well, they're going to give it a try.
Boukada doesn't have enough wave clear, but Rika might. Zone control is good from Kamiloo, a charm so narrowly missed. The minions coming out for their second push, and Rika still trying his best to defend. Flakked looks for the range in the 4th shot, takes it into the turret, and SK know the drill. Loopy steps up again. He has to die a 7th time as Sheo runs into the turret. 1 left remaining as Kamiloo's dived on by Boukada. The pierce through, the bleed enough. Kamiloo, though, gets his dying breath of a poke. A double over to Flakked, who has been seizing the day. Team Heretics, game 1. Resilience is their name.
That was an awesome Jhin game coming through from Flakked as well. Yes, those Sheo ultimates were absolutely crucial, but as soon as we got through to those kind of limbo parts of the game, we were waiting for that next pick to come through. I think Flakked's W's were absolutely insane, and that Jhin was a key part of that composition.